Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to have Matt Whiteman of Antisaint here on the program today. How you doing, Matt?
Good man, how are you?
Not too bad. You're on the road, headed to a gig somewhere?
Nope, just traveling.
Just traveling. All right.
Yeah.
And doing interviews while you're traveling. Isn't rock and roll glamorous?
Oh yeah, very.
Here to talk about Vaticinate, your latest was originally going to be three EPs, but it's also available as a full length, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, the original concept behind it was to make basically three separate EPs and tour them within 3-4 months of each other, and basically just give people a different show each time we came back. So that was the intent. The pandemic derailed it, and we decided to just combine it all into one CD.
Put out one big CD and have a go at it. Vaticinate, Latin for like prophesized, a lot of stuff like that. Tell us a little bit what went behind naming the album that.
Yeah, so it's kind of a concept album in a way, loosely, and based on 1984 by George Orwell and
Okay.
Brave New World. So, it pays kind of the whole theme of the predict the future. So that's kind of that dystopian tie to it.
Cool. Talk about the band a little bit. Of course, you do vocals. Your brother Andrew on guitar, and Glendon is on drums, percussion, and tambourine. I got that spit out. I like that.
Yeah, it's mainly Andrew and I. We're going through new members right now, so
Okay.
we're working that out. But yeah, we've been doing music together for a long time since we were kids, pretty much. So over 20 years of music together. And Anti-Saint formed during the pandemic. We were coming off of a band going for about 10 years in the Denver area, and we just decided that we wanted to take it in a new direction and start from scratch, pretty much.
Yeah. I was reading that you relocated to Cheyenne, Wyoming, the magic city of the plains.
Yeah, we it's kind of an opportunity to save some money out there, maybe build a studio and stuff like that. It's still a work in progress, but it's cool. We discovered a little gem up there. The city has just embraced this band. We did our first show as Anti-Saint last August at the Lincoln Theater up in Cheyenne, opening up for Puddle of Mud,
Nice.
and the reception was huge. Radio station got behind us, and the people are very excited for what we're about to do.
I did read that in an interview you did with somebody else. You said, the metal music scene in Denver was sort of okay, but once you moved down to Cheyenne, it was like a total different world.
Yeah, and I think that's mainly due to just saturation. The amount of things going on down there is a whole lot more than up in Cheyenne. When you
Yeah.
get national bands that hit Cheyenne, the city shows up. I mean, just
Right.
this past weekend, Ice Cube came up to Cheyenne, and it was pretty wild from what I hear. So
Yeah. Very, very cool. Now, most of your recording, though, you did at the Keep in Denver, correct?
that's correct. Yeah, Jeff Cannon at the Keep has just been a very active, kind of like the hidden crew guys in our history. We met him several albums ago, and just it is always a pleasure to work with him. There's no BS behind it, and he's one of those professional guys who's just been in this industry for a very long time. We know what we can expect through him, and it's a cool place to record at in Denver.
I saw a little snippet of a sort of behind the scenes thing where you guys were recording in the studio. Is that him talking to you? You were working on some vocals.
Oh no, so that's our producer Shane,
Okay.
who actually he worked on Vaticinate as the mix. So he mixed the album and edited it for us, and through that, like when we did that with him, we kind of just established pretty good relationship, and now we're upping the his involvement in the project. So this all the new music that's going to come out is basically going to be through the helm. He's steering the ship this time.
Cool. And then I see, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right. I can't read my own writing here. Andy, is it Vandette?
Yeah,
Mastered?
Van Det. Yep,
Vandette. Had you worked much with
yep.
him as well?
Yeah, we're doing the same pipeline, so it's if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, there you go. Now, other big news I see you posted. You guys are playing Donington in June.
That's correct. We're going across the pond, and it's going to be our first like massive festival that we're a part of. So we're super excited. It's definitely one on the bucket list, and to do it at just the hollow grounds of Donington Park is just
Yeah.
huge.
Same day as Metallica, you know?
Yeah,
Gotta be pretty
yeah.
handy right there.
Yeah, I mean, when that admat came out, it was pretty surreal to see my name up there with Metallica, Disturbed, Slipknot. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
You're probably gonna hear my dogs barking here a little bit. They're just putting in some cameos. They do this just about every interview. But I read it must be pretty cool to be on there with Disturbed as well. Because they were like I read one of your first metal albums you really listened to was Down with the Sickness.
Yeah, they're a big influence. David Draymond is a huge influence to my vocals. I saw Disturbed live, I think like when I was in eighth grade or something like that, and it always impressed me how those guys could just do some gritty vocal screams and then do clean singing all in the same line pretty much, and that's kind of what sparked my path down to what I call hybrid vocals. So yeah, to share a show with those guys is huge in my book.
Now, you worked with a vocal coach back when you were really young. I'm going to sort of bounce around here. I sometimes have like an order I want to go in the interview, but we're kind of bouncing, so I'm going to bounce with you. Um, to go back in time, you mentioned Andrew started playing young. You started singing. You guys just played an elementary school talent show. Was your first gig together? You did an AC/DC tune.
Yeah, that's correct.
Do you remember which AC/DC tune it was?
Yeah, it was TNT.
Nice, nice, of course. Um, and around that time, you also met a vocal coach who saw you at a gig and kind of took you under their wing. You were at a young age then as well.
Yeah, so I met a guy named Bob Harris, and he was in a super group just full of really old rock stars. A bass player from Loggins Messina, vocalist from Steppenwolf. So he was playing keyboards with them, and yeah, he must have saw something in me because I started working with him, and throughout like middle school, when my voice was changing, we worked together on creating the foundation of what I rely on now, and just having that early experience and being able to learn from him that young has just helped me tremendously.
That's cool. And then you also did the Zen of Screaming.
Yeah, we worked on Zen of Screaming. When I started getting new metal influence, and then just before Vaticinate, he passed me over to a guy named Jamie Vandera, and Jamie is world renowned for vocal techniques. He can break glass with his voice.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, so the stuff I learned from him is just took me to another level.
Yeah. Now, question for you: with a voice, I've read Roger Daltrey say this. Your voice is like a muscle. You've got to keep in shape, but at the same time, you can't overuse it as well, or you need to learn how to use it. How did you cope with it during the pandemic shutdown, not being able to perform, keeping yourself in shape? A guitar player can practice guitar, a drummer can practice drums. What did you do vocally to keep yourself in shape?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'll be honest. I lost motivation to keep it up because I mean, during the pandemic, it was like there was no sign of when it was gonna be over.
Hmm.
So as that first year passed by, I truly believe that like I wouldn't be doing music anymore because it was just it was such like coming off of recording Vaticinate right before all the stuff happened. We were riding pretty high, and then for it just to shut down overnight, it was just devastating. So
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't do much vocally for those couple of years, and then when kind of things got back to like things were opening up, but it still wasn't 100% or whatever. Um, I had just decided I was like, this is what I want to do, so I got to get back into it, and kind of so it took a couple months to get back, to be able to do my screams and grid again, but yeah, it kind of was like a rehab almost.
As you say, you kind of had to put the training wheels back on for a little bit,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you
Cool.
you definitely lose it if you don't keep up with it.
Yeah. I made a few notes on some of the songs. If you don't mind, sometimes it's about solos and rhythms, and other times I put a few notes in here on lyrics as well. Um, Disc one, To Fear. I broke it down. I got the download as it was the EP. So disc one, To Fear. I loved Unrealistic Expectations. The solo over the drums and bass was really great. And I love the line extermination of expression. Because I don't know about you, but I'm getting kind of scared what's going on in this world right now. And that line really hit
Yeah, I mean that's where we kind of have a concept tie into it with 1984 and Brave New World, but also like you had mentioned, it's just like this world too. So that song was more on the lines of like how everything is just kind of exponentially more difficult these days for anyone to do anything.
me. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Track three, ID, the line that really jumped out at me, because this is something I've been really into personally, was the day doubt was first put into our heads was the day we believed we would we wouldn't amount to nothing, or we would amount to nothing. I think I'm quoting
Yeah.
right here. Um, and that rings so true because kids are, when you're at a young age, you really see the world as, a blank slate. And then you get older and you get jaded and everything. And I
Yeah.
really like that, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly what that line is about. It's kind of the whole we give up. Like it's tough to be creative, or it's tough to pursue what you want to. A lot of
Mhm.
people get complacent or they have to give up or whatever. And um, it's an unfortunate thing that everybody's told at some point that they're
Yeah.
not good enough for something. And I've been told it, and I just
Yeah.
brush it off, and I'm playing download with Metallica.
There you
So,
go. Exactly.
they're wrong.
Yeah. Track four, Between the Lines. The note I got here is this song just fucking grooves. What a groove to that song. That's a monster right there.
Yeah, I
And
mean, Andrew definitely likes to write heavy grooves. Chevelle is one of his biggest influences.
mhm.
And I can tell you the single that we were working on in studio this past week is definitely on the lines of that.
Cool. Cool. Now, speaking of Metallica and Disturbed, on track six, Fear, to me, that's like Metallica mashed up with Disturbed. It's got like the music of Metallica, your vocals a lot like Disturbed's. I thought that was that blew me away when I heard
It's a fun one, man. It's kind of a little punk rock in the beginning, and then there's that breakdown in the middle, and then it's just we end the song with the big screams and stuff, and it's a good transition into the heavier side of the album,
it. Yeah.
the To Digest chapter.
Yeah, which is where I go now. Digesting Bones, another lyric that really, again, is just ringing so true is the sheep keep on herding, follow the shepherd, don't ask why. And there's a part in that song where it's almost like hymnal. You guys kind of bring the music down and you're singing, and that was the word that came to me was hymnal and your delivery on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the song starts off with like the church organ. So
Yeah,
it's very it, I it's not an attack on religion, but it's
right.
just kind of like don't hide behind that kind of stuff. Like
Hmm.
you have to be human. You have to
Yeah.
own up to your stuff. Because I've unfortunately been like part of family has been super religious and stuff, and
Hmm.
they've judged us and what the whole thing. But
Hmm.
it's just one of those. I had to do
Yeah.
it.
That
Songs. So
that was probably my favorite track of all of them, and it was hard to pick, but I went back to that one a couple of times.
yeah,
Out of 16 songs, it's hard to pick a favorite. Um,
yeah. There's a lot on it.
yeah. Feed the Crows. I love the title. I love the atmosphere of this song. I couldn't quite figure it out though, or maybe it's not meant to be figured out. Do you want to pull the curtain back a little bit on it?
Oh yeah, I mean it's kind of the part in the story, right, where everything boils over. So it's just a free for all frenzy, a riot type stuff going on. So feed the crows implies, the feasting on the bodies. So
Okay.
it's
All right.
it's just a fun one to play.
Yeah, definitely. We'll jump to the disc three to create. Um, the first track on that, Mad World, I really liked it. It was dark. I like dark music. To me, that was dark. Almost Alice in Chains like. And I love the build on that song.
Yeah, I mean, I love listening to those old, um, 80s pop songs from Tears for Fears and Depeche Mode. I mean, it's pretty wild how they're able to create a dynamic where it's uplifting but depressing at the same time.
Hmm.
And Mad World is just that perfect song where, to describe everything going on,
Yeah.
it just felt like it would fit very well on the album.
As I was listening to these, I got through, I'll call it the disc one to fear, disc two, to digest. And when I got down to create, when I got down to these five songs, I noticed, to my ear at least, a slight change in like the production, the atmosphere of the songs. I'll go with what I said about this song. It seemed slightly darker, this disc. Was that the intention, or am I just hearing it?
Um, yeah, I mean, I would say our stuff's pretty dark in general, but um, yeah, it's definitely a change in tone. I think it gets more realistic.
Hmm.
Because Mad World, we covered that to represent kind of how the world was around the time, and then Rediscovering Reason was kind of like a what the hell are we doing type song.
Yeah.
Like and it kind of plays back into unrealistic expectations, so those two kind of complement each other.
Okay.
And then it goes into Parasite, right when you think it's kind of getting a little uplifting, right? No, Parasite hits, and Parasite is probably the most personal song on the album.
Hmm.
um and it's just kind of like I've had several concussions in my life, and I had two back to back when I was in middle school. So right around the time when I was, hitting puberty and stuff.
Yeah.
And those concussions really did a number on my psyche.
Mm.
And so Parasite is kind of a reference to those times for me.
Mm. Okay. And then you come out of Parasite with Tranquility, which is a nice sort of catch your breath moment.
Yeah,
Little
it's
little
a
bit of
it's
a
a nice
breather.
interlude. Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of transitions to get ready for the ending.
Yeah. Who now in the last track there's an Infinite. Who there's a voice in the beginning. I could just barely hear him. It sounded like a child's voice calling out like numbers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a number station that's being played.
Okay. Who was it? Who's calling out those numbers? Was it something you had pre-recorded, or somebody had in the studio with you, or?
It was our drummer's daughter at the time.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. And I had a feeling it was going to pick up, and it really did. It was a nice. transition. It's particularly coming out of the heaviness of Parasite. You got the little breather with Tranquility. Infinite starts out kind of and then goes up. And by the time you get to the finale, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm ready for this now. Great song, great closer.
Yeah, it's just one of those songs that we didn't have any rules that we wanted to follow or anything. So it was one of the more creative uh songs that we've done.
Cool. I want to give out the website www.antisaintband.com. Check out stuff on that as well. Um, the other fascinating fact I saw that you posted was, and this is from a little while ago, I think the beginning of the year, you had LASIK surgery, and before that, you couldn't really see your audience when you were up there.
Yeah, that's correct. Everything was a blur, man. Like just it'll be exciting. Like I haven't done a show this year yet. But we're gearing up to do some in May before we go over to download. So it'll probably be a big change for me to actually see faces and whatnot.
I was going to say that'll be uh, quite eye-opening, no pun
Yeah.
intended. Um, now talk about being out there where you are in like Denver and Wyoming and stuff. Had you guys traveled to Canada much?
We did do a Canadian tour with Seven Dust and
Okay.
Crowbot.
Okay. Wow. Crowbot, great band. Great band.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys are hilarious. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I saw those guys with the Sword and Clutch in a triple bill over here a while back.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, so we did it. We did we hit like we hit most cities. We didn't go all the way west like Vancouver, but we hit Edmonton, we hit Calgary, we hit uh I think we hit Montreal. We went all across. It
yeah.
was very cool experience. I did enjoy my time up in Canada.
So you've got a little bit of experience with traveling out of country, let's say. Now you're going to go out of continent. Talk to us a little bit about the logistics. Are you doing is Donington just going to be a one-off gig? Are you guys trying to plan together a little bit of a tour, or how is that going to work?
Yeah, I mean it's still up in the air what's going on. I know we've got a couple opportunities that we're waiting to hear back on, but for now, Download's the only official one. And yeah, it's been a nightmare to figure out logistics. Figuring out
Hmm.
what gear um, absolutely has to come over and all the different permits and stuff. But the folks at Live Nation have been helping us, and we're getting through the process. So
Okay. Okay. I would imagine that's the only way you do is network through somebody like Live Nation or network with another band who has played over there, that kind of gives you the ins and out. Have you done much of that at all?
yeah, we have we've got a couple bands that have gear stashed out there that we have access to, and um, all that. So it's just figuring out, all the minor details. I mean, because wireless systems are different out there, power's different out there.
That was going to be a
So
question. You always see, I remember seeing that on, I think it was European Vacation, the movie, where Clark goes in to plug in his razor or something, and nothing's the
yeah,
same. So yeah, I mean, there's all those little, like you say, those little details you've got to think about, and it must be pretty tough.
it has been. I think we're close to being done with it, and so that way we can just focus on this month of gearing down, just grinding out rehearsals and getting the best we can for that.
Cool. Is it going to be just you guys going over? Are you going to bring any type of support system with you? Friends, girlfriends, hangers on, anything like that? Or are you going to go it alone?
Yeah, we got family coming out because it's a big deal for them. They've been huge supporters of us, and I think it'd be cool for them to see, the big check mark of the festival
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
exciting.
yeah. So once you get through Donington, you say you're working on some stuff back here and everything. What do you got down the pipe from there?
Hopefully some American festivals, hopefully we get added on last minute to some of the big ones out here, but we got new music on the horizon coming out, and that could open up many doors. We have industry people waiting to see what that single is gonna sound like and whatnot. So it's exciting. We've got some momentum. Uh, we're ready to deliver and get on the next stuff.
Yeah. I mean, really, because you're building your brand. You had a pretty good thing going with Red Tide Rising. Then you decided to go with Antisaint. So, at least you had a little bit coming off of that to build off as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like we lost a lot of momentum due to the pandemic, but we're getting it back now. So
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Matt, I always like to wind things up with some silly questions. I'm hoping these are questions maybe you've never been asked before. Sound good?
all right, lay them on me.
All right. First car you bought with your own money.
I mean, I didn't have to buy it. It was given to me. I think it's a 2004 Saturn Ion. Piece
Okay.
of crap. I still have it. I outlasted Saturn Car Company, so that's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
remarkable.
Favorite toy growing up as a child?
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
One of your favorites.
I had a collection of Beanie Babies. Those were pretty rad. I
Yeah.
regret selling them because they're worth a fortune now. So
Right. Right. I hear you. Okay. Favorite old school wrestler?
I'm not much of a wrestling fan, but
No.
I got to give it to Randy Savage.
All
He's
right. Right. Very cool.
classic.
Um, if you could pick a television show to have an Anti-Saint song placed in, what show would you pick?
Oh, let's go with Breaking Bad. Love
Breaking
that
Bad?
TV series. Yeah,
Cool. Favorite superhero?
let's go with Batman.
All right. Now we'll go the opposite way. Favorite villain?
Um, hmm. I mean, honestly, like I can't get over how great Heath Ledger's performance of the Joker was.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I agree.
Joker. I know it's pretty like common, but I got to stay with Joker. And even Joaquin Phoenix's performance of Joker in their own like standalone was
Brilliant.
incredible.
Yeah. Brilliant. Last music other than your own you listen to.
I've been digging, like I've been looking through other artists that we're sharing with the stage with, and there's a guy named Greg. I always butcher his last name because it's like Italian and weird. It's like Pucciano or something like that.
Okay.
Uh, he's got some really cool music. It's like Nine Inch Nails and Alice in Chains and like Dio all like
Wow.
combined. Like it's freaking rad.
I'll have to look him
So I'm
up and check
very
it out.
yeah yeah I'm very excited to catch his set at Download.
Cool. Last of the silly questions, and this is the one we have the most fun with. If they were to make a biopic of your life, what actor would you pick to play you? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
I mean, recently I've been called Mark Wahlberg, so we'll just stick with Mark.
And you can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that. Okay, so getting back to music, just to wind things up with Vaticinate is out now. You say you've got some new stuff on the horizon. How long before we hear the new stuff?
Summer,
Summer?
it's creeping up. Yeah, beginning of summer.
Excellent. We'll look forward to that. Video shoot for the new single. You mentioned it was a single, correct?
It is a single. Can't we, we don't have time to do a proper music video to it, but I am working on a pretty cool concept video for it, like an animated CG video for it. So
Sure.
hopefully I'll get that done before the release, and that can go with it.
Cool. That brings me back to one thing I missed on my questions. You did some of the artwork for Vaticinate. Um,
Yep.
do you do a lot of that? Obviously you're an artist, or or graphics designer or something like that? How did that come about?
Oh yeah, I mean, so I have a background in game design, and so
Okay.
when you do that stuff, you kind of have to wear multiple hats. So when I was working on that degree, I had to use a lot of 3D software, and I just got good at it. Figuring out the different rendering techniques and stuff like that, and how to translate it, and then bring it into programs like Photoshop and paint on it and whatnot. Make it a personal touch. So yeah, I've always just kind of been drawn to just anything creative.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Excellent. Well, Matt, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. As you're out there traveling, once again, we've been talking with Matt Whiteman, lead vocalist for the band Antisaint. The album Vaticinate is out now. Can you get it right at the website?
Yep, we got orders for physical copies, and then like if physical copies aren't your thing, we're on Spotify, Apple Music, Google, all that
Okay.
stuff. So it's all there.
Web- Website once again is www.antisaintband.com. Matt, thank you very much for your time. May all your travels be safe and your shows sold out.
And thanks, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Take care. Bye bye.